Hello everybody. So today we're looking at how to do automation on the network automation using Jinja and Python. So if you're not familiar with Jinja, we'll quickly have a look at the jinjapaletsprojects.com. Jinja is a fast, expressive, extensible templating engine. Special placeholders in the template allow writing code similar to Python syntax. Then the template has passed data to render the final document. You may have seen me do this on one of my early videos where I had multiple lots of information in a CSV file, and then I created multiple docx files from that one template, and yeah, there we go. So what we're going to do today is actually automate the creation of some network configs. And when I say network configs, Cisco routers. So I'm going to keep this really, really basic and kind of easy to understand if it's your first step. So what I've got here is a CSV file, which I've opened up in VS Code. If you open this in Open Preview, yeah, if you opened it in Excel, it would just look like a normal Excel file, trust me. Yeah, so CSV file, which is basically an Excel file. You can save an Excel file to CSV if you need to, which I would recommend if you're doing this. I've created a folder called Cisco Jinja, which is just my folder name. You can call it what you want. Inside that, I've created a folder called templates, which is where I'm putting my template. Now, this is probably the most important part, because if you understand this, then writing the code will be straightforward because you can just kind of follow what I do and copy it. The template, however, this is a template taken from a Cisco router. So if you're familiar with the config, if you're familiar with config files from Cisco or Juniper or even F5, whatever, from the command line you can normally obtain text file of the config. This is all of the config except three places where I've put the red dot. You will see two curly braces, and then I've inserted something called router underscore name. That's just a variable name which I've created. Again here, line 80. You can put in as many of these as you want, as long as you give them a unique name. Double braces, my variable name, two closing braces. This is Jinja syntax, not Python as such, although it will obviously work with my Python script. And one last one here. So I've just done three. You could put in as many as you want. If you wanted to change the access list name, you would just put two curly braces. And you'd probably just put something just so you know it's a variable rather than the actual value. So yeah, that's my template. So the template really is the config file with some double braces either side of your value, and just leave a space as well. So there's a space there and there's a space there. So we've got a template file, we've got a CSV file, which is something you can create, or obviously somebody can give you that. And then we have some code. So I've just put in my little banner there. And first thing you want to do, because we're going to be importing from a CSV, is we just need to import the CSV module into Python. Next, we need to import Jinja. So these are the only two things we need to import. Jinja 2. So from Jinja 2, from the Jinja 2 module, we just need to import environment, which VS Code is nicely doing the autocomplete for, and file system loader. and we'll use these next. So use the, so I'm just going to put a note here, use the template directory. If you're not using the template directory, if you've got all your files thrown in the same directory, which I wouldn't really recommend, then I'll tell you what to do in a second. Here, you would just do something. I think you would do that. Again, I haven't done it and I wouldn't recommend it, but it's just telling it where to look for the template file that we are going to be looking in here. So this is the directory where it looks, and then load the. Then we actually need to load that into Jinja. So we set it as a variable, and then we load that variable into Jinja. So we say, I'll just load the environment env equals environment, and then VS Code is offering us some choices. We need to say loader equals file loader. Now we've done that, we can do, we need to tell it, we need to say template. We need to create a template object, which we say is env.get. So we need to get from the template. From the template, we get all the stuff from the template. Good. So what we've done is we've told Jinja which directory to look in, and then we've said find the file called Cisco_template, get all of that and load it into a variable called template. And now we will say with open, we're going to read our CSV file, and we're going to set the values from the CSV file to some variables, which we will then go off and mix up or substitute into our template file. So here we're just creating a variable which is, we're loading the contents of the CSV file into an object called CSV data, and then we're going to iterate through that. We're going to say for all of that, row by row, in CSV. So for each row in the CSV file, and then I'm just going to set some variables each time. So CSV router name. I'm going to do these first, and then I'll come back. Okay, so these are the three variables which are going to contain 1, 2, 3 bits of information from the CSV. And then what we need to do is we need to make those equal to the row. So row 0, which is effectively first column, row 1. And this is Python, so because it reads the first column is the first column is column 0. So row is just our iterable, so we could just say for line in CSV data, and then we'd say get column 0 from the current line. So row actually means the current row as we're iterating through. So we've for each iteration, we're loading those 3 pieces of data into 3 variables. Then we need to use those to render our template. I've said render unique data over template. What I mean is get the 3 values from the CSV file and put those over the top of those placeholders that we've got in our template. I'm going to create an output object. The output object will be what we print to the screen, but equally we could save that to a text file for each row. So if you've got 10 rows, you would then end up with 10 text files. I won't bother to do it here as visually, I'll just print it to the screen. Output is equal to template.render, and again this is Jinja syntax, and then router name equals, so router name is what is the name of my first placeholder in Jinja, so router name there. So router name equals this. Don't know what happened there. Let's go do it again. Basically my variables are called the same, but they don't have CSV in front. So I've done the same here. Oh, I've got it wrong around, sorry. So that, again, that's my placeholder is called G001, and then I'm setting it to this, which I've just read from the CSV file. That should, what did I call it at the end? The NTP. I think I put an IP. Okay. Again, I've not been consistent here. NTP server IP equals, I should put IP on the end of there really. Good. And although indentation is important with Python, once you have some brackets, the indentation ceases to be critical. So then you can just visually put the text where you want it, just for better readability. Good. Okay, so next, I think we're virtually ready to run this. So if you're ready to see it in action, we need to print the output. So we need to do it within the for loop. So if it was there, it would happen once, and we would only actually end up seeing the last iteration. So make sure you put it indented here, and then we will say print output. And I'm just going to run that. And it's made Manchester. And it's made Bristol. Just going to clear that, so just run it again. Yeah, there we go, Manchester. So you'd copy, if you were just copying my code, you would just then come in and copy all of that. Which is a bad way of doing it, really. What you need to do is actually then output that to a text file. There you go. So you see, you've got, if we go up and check it, Manchester came from there. So then the gigabit 001 IP should be 10.2.2. It's just down here somewhere. There we go. And the NTP server address should be 111. And there you go. Actually, there's one too many spaces there. That's we don't need. Why is that? Oh, it's because, yeah, be careful if you construct your own CSV file, don't leave spaces there. Just a little tip. Right, well, that's it really. That is how to use Jinja with Python to read values from a CSV file and create two separate config files based on one template. Now I've done two, but if you wanted, you could create 20, 50, 100, 1,000. All you really actually just need to do is just duplicate or just do more lines and what should we put in there? 192.168. There we go, and we'll call this London. Run this. And there, somewhere in here, we will have a London router. There we go, London. So it's made us 3 configs. If you wanted to write the output to a text file, you would just put that in here. So you would do something like with open. You'd have to pass the variable name there as well. You'd have to do root. You'd have to do CSV router name. Plus txt as txt file, and then you would just do then you would do txtf.write. Sorry. You would do. Sorry about that. I just had to recycle some coffee. Yeah, with OpenCS. Where's it gone? Yeah, so rather than printing it to the screen, with open and then CSV router name, which will be London, Manchester, or Bristol .txt, we just want to write it. So we're writing it as text, so just do W. So write it as txtf, and then we write, and then we put the output into that text file. So if we're ready, let's do that. and we've got 3 files: route to Bristol, route to London, route to Manchester. We should probably put underscores in there and tidy that up, but yeah, you get the general idea. So if we open up, what was the London one? That was the 192 address, wasn't it? So if we go down there, there we go, 192.168.1.1. And that is read from there. So what we started with was a CSV of 3 routers with IP addresses and NTP time server addresses. And from that, we have then generated, we've got London, Manchester, Bristol. So we've generated 3 config files, which are unique, based on data that we've read from a CSV file. So yeah, there we go. That's just a preview, making the top one bold. Don't worry about that. Yeah, that's how it really looks. So I think that's a success, and that really can save you a lot of time. Not only can you automate writing of the Word documents, if you were creating many work plans, which was the topic of my earlier video. Yeah, this actually is how to automate or semi-automate network configuration files, writing a network configuration file for a Cisco router using Jinja and Python code. So I think that's a pretty good way to automate something. So there we go. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, like the sign says, and just comment whatever, because of the algos and all that. So yeah, I hope this has been interesting. It's yeah, I think it's really good. It's just a great way to make things more accurate, error proof. I mean, if you type all these text files and yeah, firstly, you get bored. So if you get bored halfway through doing these and someone talks to you, you won't know until you've uploaded it onto the router, and then you've got a load of screaming customers or an angry colleague who's telling you that the config didn't work or didn't update. So yeah, there we go. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon with some